Thank you very much. All right, that's our first tune of the evening. As Paula said in her very nice introduction, we are the UW Jazz Composers Group. Over at UW, we have an array of 6 jazz ensembles, each of which, I think in a very real sense, has its own mission, its own focus on material. And in this group, we kind of live up to our name. It's the composers group, right? We do not bring in, maybe on special occasions or something, but we don't play a Dizzy Gillespie tune or play Horace Silver tune or something from the repertoire. Our repertoire sticks to music written from within the UW Jazz community. And so that's what you're going to hear for the remainder of our program, one way or another. So that first one, that's something I did, actually more years ago than I probably should admit. And it just sort of stayed in the repertoire of my groups for a while because it's a nice simple tune and kind of a palate cleanser after some of our more complex materials. Right? And it was titled Let's Ankle It, which is old 50s slang from when I was a kid. Translation, let's get out of here. Right? And so that was it. So when it's time to play this tune, I'd call, let's ankle it, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, like that. And for some reason, after quite a long time, years of playing the tune, when I called the song, I just said, ankle time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And before I could even get the count off, my drummer behind me, as always, he said, much better title. Okay, so through humiliation, it became ankle time. Yeah, so that's it. So that's my contribution, right? But our real focus is what these very, very talented young musicians can do. And so we'll move over to that right now. Our next piece of music, you may recognize the title if you are a denizen of Middleton, Wisconsin. Daniel, our trumpet player, wrote this, and we played it earlier in the year, and now we're doing it again. It's he calls this one Marshall Park. Did I hit it? Struck a nerve there, huh? Okay, great. Here it is. Daniel's tune, Marshall Park. And thank you once again. Well, that was a very nice reception, I think, for the ensemble. But see, in this group, that's never enough, right? We always insist on just a little bit more for the composer. So let's hear a little bit for Brother Daniel. Okay. You know, if you sort through jazz history, you know, go way back 60, 70, 80 years, even more, you'll find that there's always been a little bit of a tug-of-war, sometimes fierce, sometimes mild, between people who might be the purists. They fight letting new elements come into jazz. Okay? That's not jazz. This is jazz. You know, Charlie Parker's bebop, that is jazz. You know, and all that Herbie Hancock funk is not. Yeah, and this goes on all the time, right? And it's the funny thing about this. I've been watching that. I've been professionally involved in jazz for well over 60 years, and it's funny how these purist movements always fizzle. It never quite works. See, jazz by its very nature has a voracious appetite for everything around it. It's really true, and I think, to me anyway, again, maybe I'll start an argument with this stuff, but that's what keeps jazz, that's the nutrition of jazz. That's what keeps it going, keeps blood in the veins, and so on. So this next piece of music, I think, is an example of how that works. This was written by our saxophonist, Will, and he derived it from, and it's certainly something I did not know about, right? And turned out not only Will, but a few other people in the group said, oh, yeah, sure. Of some things that have their basis in Japan, right? With various things that go on there. So anyway, here we go. It's, the title is Tank. And Tank has an exclamation point after it. Here's Tank. our first woo-woo of the evening. All right. Wow, that's great. That's always an important indicator, right? That's Tank, okay. And of course, you know, this music doesn't fall out of the sky all by itself. Somebody has to write it. A little more for Will, please. Right. There's one peculiar aspect of my job as the musical director of this group. As I said before, our 6 UW groups, each one has a particular slant on things. And but by choosing to say, okay, we are limiting ourselves only to the things that the people here within UW community are writing, that means that I can't sit here, Mr. Music Director, and say, okay, we'll pick a medium slow bossa nova, followed by a red hot swinger, followed by this, and make a beautifully well-balanced program, which is one of the jobs of a music director, and actually one too, because I'm subject to what they write, and I cannot bring myself to be Mussolini-like and say, okay, you will write a ballad, no, can't do it. Everybody has to be free to whether. So I always have my fingers crossed that by the time we put everything together and the dust settles, that we do have a nice, well-balanced program and so on. So, and the good part is it seems to always work out. Sometimes I wonder. I say, oh, sure wish we had this, but I don't dare say a word. And so one of the things as the music started coming in, I was thinking, I want to make sure we get something with some nice lyricism, everything like, and of course, I think all you jazz fans have noticed that most jazz is in a 4-beat meter, right? Song after song. So far, that's what we did, huh? Wouldn't it be nice to have something in 3? Well, it just happened, right? With the next 2, right? Written by our pianist Lance, and beautiful bit of lyricism in a figure of 3 that has worked out very, very well for it. He titled this one, In the Blink of an Eye. And you know the drill by now. More for Lance. Yeah. All right, continuing in the parade of brand new music written from members of this ensemble, we will finish off the first portion of this program with something written by our trombonist, Sophia, who, there you have a cheering section back there. Yes, right. Are these people dangerous? No? Okay, good, all right. Yeah, it's in fact, she based it on something she had done when in high school. Reminded her of something that she and her high school colleagues had a lot of fun with then. And so it's, in a certain way, I hope this doesn't offend Sophia, that if I say it in a funny way, it's a parody of that piece of music they played there. That's a very, very inventive parody. Very nice. And so someone very important in her musical background was a gentleman named Bill, so this bears the very direct title of Bill Jazz. And of course for Sophia. All right, that brings our first portion of this afternoon. We just are moving from afternoon to evening, right? It's an intermission time, which gives everybody time to look around at the marvelous things this building contains and other things. And I believe Paula is going to take charge of the microphone right about now.
Thank you, Les. What a performance so far. You are all magnificent. So we have about 15 minutes, Buzz? 16? 16 minutes for you to walk through the studio and have a look around or look at the prints here and then come back and enjoy the second half of the program. And thank you so much, Les, for not only being here tonight, but also giving us all this wonderful information and your amazing students. Congratulations.
We hope you're enjoying the Tandem Press Jazz Concert. It's always a treat for us to be able to work on it, and it's always fun for me to be able to talk with the various staff at Tandem about what they're doing. And once in a while, I actually get to speak with Director Paula Panchenko, and I'm glad to have you here today.
Thank you very much, Buzz.
So you've been up to a lot. We could probably talk for an hour, but we'll condense it to shorter than that. Let's start with your recent trip to Miami and an event called Ink Miami. What was that all about?
Well, in Miami, every December, there are approximately 20 to 24 art fairs where gallerists and artists and very important people gather from all over the world. It is all centered around a fair called Art Basel Miami Beach, which is a fair that was founded in Basel, Switzerland. And then they decided 10 years ago to set up a fair here in Miami Beach. So, of course, the weather is beautiful and everybody gathers both in Miami and on Miami Beach. So Tandem, along with several others, set up a print fair 15 years ago, and we've been going strong ever since. So we have a very small number of dealers. We have only 16 dealers, but everyone shows prints. But it is a beautiful fair insofar as it isn't in a tent, it isn't in a building with no windows. It is a series of suites at the Dorchester Suites Hotel, which surrounds a lovely long pool the length of the courtyard. Oh, nice. And we have a free breakfast every morning for people on their way to the large fair. And we have a party every Thursday of the week of the art fairs. And this year we were inundated with people, and everybody says who comes in that this is their favorite fair.
Oh, that's great. Now, how do you decide when you go down there and you're bringing artwork with you? Obviously, you're bringing prints with you. How do you decide what display at such a fair? Do you center around a certain artist or theme, or is it just a variety of all kinds of things?
We mostly highlight the most recent work that we've done. Okay. That's the priorities, the works that people haven't seen in the past. That's the main thing. And we do have a variety of artists. So this year we had the wonderful African-American artist Derek Adams, who was also all over the main fair, which is Art Basel Miami Beach. And then we have had Jeffrey Gibson, a Native American artist. Then we had Judy Pfaff and Suzanne Caparel, who've worked with us since the early 1990s. Mm-hmm. And we had another wonderful artist from New York, Leslie Dill, and she did amazing work all about the abolitionists And these new works were extraordinary and people were intrigued by them. So it was very exciting and it was a wonderful display. And the hotel where we do this fair, in this courtyard, clear out all the furniture which is usually provided for guests. So there would be a bedroom, a dining room, and a living room. But they take out everything for us, and it turns into 16 galleries. And people come in and they say, oh, what usually goes on in here? And we say, well, actually, this is a hotel, but they remove all the furniture for us.
Yeah.
So people are kind of astounded. And so that's very exciting too.
That is exciting. Part of what's fun for me about listening to you talk about this is that when I started working with you on the Tandem jazz concerts, I had no clue of anything about the print world, and I've slowly been learning through you and Sona and Mishka and Jason and everyone who works with you. And it's so fun when you were listing the names of these artists. I recognize most of their names, and I can even in some cases think of, oh yeah, they did this piece, they did that piece. So that's really fun for me. So you're making me smarter.
And with all your help, you're making us smarter. Audio for the Arts is such an incredible organization, and the fact that we are doing these jazz concerts with the Jazz Studies program at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and the groups are composed of students and led by Johannes Wallman and then broadcast by you. It's a tremendous collaboration, and we're bringing both art and jazz music together and people together too.
Yeah, well, thank you. We love being part of it, and these I really love it when an arts organization expands and says, okay, we're a visual art group, but we're also going to be doing the performing arts in the form of these jazz concerts and featuring students, which is really terrific because I think that people in this community need to know what kind of quality students we have in the jazz world. And one of the treats that I get when I travel is I often go look for jazz concerts. And one time I was in Boston, and I went to a little dive bar. It was actually a little scary, but I went in there because somebody said, "Oh, this bar features students from Berkeley, and they come in and play jazz." And yeah, here are these 19 and 20-year-olds just tearing it up. It was absolutely great. So what about now? We're doing the concert today. You just got back from Inc. Miami.
Right.
Now tomorrow you've got the holiday open house. So
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, we've done that for several years too. That's probably one of the most exciting days of the year for Tandem, because we'll open at 10 o'clock and we'll have lots of treats for people in terms of food and drink so that they won't be too cold, because it seems like it's going to be quite cold and snowy on Saturday. But we will also have printmaking demonstrations. So we will have the first demonstration at 11, the next at 12:30, and the final one at 2 p.m. And then people can also look at all the artwork that we have. But printmaking is it's a collaborative art form insofar as an artist comes in who may be a painter or a sculptor, and then they work with our master printers who are really extraordinary. The collaborative printers have studied the work of the artist before they arrive. And so they're able to make recommendations, because they're also artists themselves, about what technique might be the best for them. And over the years, because this is our 33rd year, over the years, we've been able to build up a very, very vast amount of equipment. So people can do lithography, silkscreen printing, woodblock printing, etching, solar plate printing. And the artists are just intrigued. In fact, several of them from time to time have said, I want to try every technique in one of my prints. So the printers will then say, sure, no problem. And they are amazing people. We have 3 amazing printers working for us.
In the print world, especially when artists are offering prints for sale, how does it work in terms of, first of all, so it's not like a painting where there's one copy and that's it. Multiple prints of a certain piece of art can be made. Is that correct?
Correct.
And I'm assuming that the number of them, I'm assuming 2 things, which you can correct me if I'm wrong or elaborate if I'm correct. One thing that I'm assuming is that either Tandem or the artist or someone sets a limit, so there won't be 1,000 of them. There might be 20 or 50 or whatever. And the other assumption I'm making is that because there is so much creativity involved, not just in the design, but in the actual making of the print.
Correct.
That I would assume that each print of this artwork comes out a little different.
Well, it doesn't really.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay.
Even though
I don't mind being corrected.
No. I didn't mean it like that.
No. I want to be accurate.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, our printers are so good at what they do and so experienced that even though, and in this way you are correct, it's all done by hand, but at the same time, the ideal is to have virtually no difference between one print and the next print. So, for example, the artist comes into Tandem. That artist makes the print. Say it's a etching or a silk screen. Mm-hmm. At the end of the collaboration, the artist will, if that artist is happy with the print, because it will be signed by them, will RTP, which means right to print. Or otherwise you might see something that has BAT, which is bon à tirer, a good pull from the French. Or one artist insisted on writing PDC, pretty damn close.
I love that. That is terrific. Okay,
and that was the artist, Robert
right.
Stackhouse.
Yeah.
So we do determine when we look at the work that the artists have done, a number of things in terms of the number that would be printed. In some instances, if the print is very complicated and the artist has wanted multiple techniques, we'll tell them how long that will take. Mm-hmm. And if they would like their work out earlier, then it might be a smaller edition. So that would be approximately 24, say. Mm-hmm. And if it's a more simple print, we could do maybe 30 or 40. Okay. Mostly we do between 24 and 30. Now, the buyer or the collector gets a documentation sheet, and that says this is the artist, these were the printers, this is the number of colors, this is the technique that was used, this is the number. And when the artists leave and the print run is done and the artist comes back and signs everything, we then destroy the materials that the artist and the printers used so that there cannot be any more.
Okay.
So it won't be like 100 suddenly appearing. So say it's a very popular print and people will say, well, can't you make some more? We're saying no. Yeah. We can't make any more.
Wow. So we hear the phrase often, after they made this, they broke the mold. In this case, it's actually true.
It's actually true.
Yeah, wow.
You put a sign through an X through the plate. And in some instances, if it's a very, very interesting plate, like William Wegman was here and he always did these prints with Wynham. I can't remember the name of the dog, but anyway, we loved the plate. It was so much of his work. that people recognized that we gave that to the Chazen Museum of Art because they are our archive. So they can use that as a teaching tool, but they can't use it to make any prints.
Can't make any prints. Wow, terrific. The last thing I want to ask you in the last minute or so that we have left is what do you see as an ideal kind of way of explaining it, the relationship between Tandem Press and the city of Madison? How do you see, what do you want that to be? I guess maybe another way of putting it is, how do you want the person in Madison or the Madison area who's interested in artwork in general, how do you want them to think of Tandem Press and to interact with Tandem Press?
Well, first of all, we're 100% a part of the university, and we raise approximately 85% of our funding through the sale of prints. And then we also raise funding through grants and general fundraising. So our objective is to be recognized by the city on a regular basis. We're open to the public from 9 to 5 every single day. We're open on the weekends by appointment. We do special projects like the holiday open house or demonstrations. We've taught courses during the summertime. So in that way, we can do outreach without perhaps people feeling that they must come and buy something, or we want people to be very comfortable. So we have tours. We don't want people to be put off. And I think the city of Madison has really, really supported us big time. We have lots of people who come to the jazz concerts. We have lots of people who come to the courses. We have lots of people who just drop in. And I think that we're really honored that they will do that. On the other hand, we're also really recognized on a national level. We exhibit in New York, Miami. We're going to be in Palm Springs, Chicago. So we have a lot of friends all over the country.
Great. Yeah, that's terrific. I mean, so Tandem Press is a big deal, but it's very accessible. So check it out. Come to the holiday open house tomorrow, starting at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
Yeah, and check this stuff out. And hopefully you are enjoying the jazz concerts on a regular basis. I'm Buzz Kemper. This is the director of Tandem Press, Paula Panchenko. And now let's get back to the jazz concert.
Excellent. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for coming tonight. As I said earlier on, a cold and snowy night, but you're all here. And this music has made us all hot, don't you think? This is so hot. So I want to congratulate the students, and I want to turn this over to Les, who will tell you what's coming up next. And don't forget about the holiday open house tomorrow if you have time to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paula. All right. Welcome back to the second portion of this evening's offerings. We're going to go back and play something of mine again. Back in my New York days, which was basically the 1960s, one of the things I used to like to do when I had a little time to kill was to go down to 45th Street to McGurr's Pool Hall. I like to play pool. I'm not real good, but it's sure fun. But this is, maybe some of you remember the 1960 film with Paul Newman, The Hustler? Yeah? Okay. Well, you remember that was Ames Pool Hall? That was a carbon copy of McGurr's. Yeah, because that's where all the heavies hung out. And you could see some playing that would just dazzle you, right? So it was just fun to walk in there and just see the but some of the characters in there were great, and I got into a funny frame where I would want to write a jazz tune based on one of the characters in the pool hall. And so we're going to start with one of them. I think I wrote about 6 or 7 of them. We're going to open tonight with one. It's This guy was a genuine pool hustler. Little guy, very unobtrusive, and that's the best way to hustle. And he would just be, but he always, I'm not quite sure where this nickname came from, but he was known, no last name ever, but he was known as Little Lunchbag Louie. Yeah. And that's it. With a name like that, I think he deserves a song. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's right. So anyway, this is going back to McGurr's, which, and of course, do I even have to bother saying McGurr's is long gone, right? So anyway, Little Lunchbag Louie. All right, thank you once again. No. When the composer is beyond a certain age, he doesn't, right. He's had enough.
You got 2 rounds of applause then.
I don't know. I can't tell if you're applauding or not there when the hearing goes. All right. And so, in other words, as we said, we've been talking all night that the focus of this group is on writing, right? Writing, but also you hear all the wonderful improvisation go. We can't have jazz without improvising. I think everybody's aware of that. It would be a very funny affair. And so every once in a while, we kind of a loose tradition in this band. I think we do it almost every time, but is to kind of turn the whole thing on its head and minimize the writing and maximize the improvising. Right? Just to give everybody a chance to, as we used to say, stretch out. Right? So keep the writing simple and basic, and let the complexity be taken care of by the improvisers. See, so this is, and also we have this is some of our favorite things to blow on are always the good old blues, the 12-bar blues. Right? It reminds me of one time I heard the great Cannonball Adderley say, I think maybe you thought we were going to get out of here tonight without paying our respects to the blues, but we don't do that sort of thing. Right. So we're going to do the same thing. This is the blues. Everybody takes and when I say everybody, I mean everybody over here takes their turn at it. We call this one a bolt from the blue. Thank you again. All right, that's the blues by everybody. All right. Yeah. Right. Give the written page a little bit of a rest. Always good. Yeah. Okay. Before we go on, I have to say another. I talked about some of my strategies as planning programs for this group. Another one is something I've gotten used to, and it's a kind of a rhythm for the development of the group throughout the school year, that we start out in September and say, okay, this is a group where I'd like to have as many of you as possible, right, for the group. We have my library of quite a few pieces of music for the same instrumentation, so we can keep using mine. It's okay. We don't have to stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning getting things done, but whenever it's possible. So the rhythm of the whole thing is like throughout the first semester, people will start to write, and your first efforts at writing sometimes takes a little more time and so on. So by the time we get to this point in the semester, maybe our programs are still heavier in my writing than they are in theirs, right? And then we come back second semester, and the shark has smelled the blood, and now they really want to get in there and write shark. And by the time we get to the end of the second semester, Les who? Never heard of him, right? I mean, they have taken the thing over, and so that's what we kind of strive for. But something this year's group, and this is not an exaggeration at all, before we play our next student-written composition, is here we are at midpoint, end of the first semester, not the second. This is the first semester. And on tonight's program, their writing outweighs mine 5-4. That's never happened before, right? So that's where extra applause, yeah. I said write some charts, and oh, here they are. So that's just great. So we're now going to hear the fifth of the five written. And once again, this is the writing of our trumpeter, Mr. Daniel. Brand new one. I gotta make sure I get this right? Yes. He calls this one El Rock Riviera. Huh? Huh? Already it sounds good. And of course, more for Daniel. All right, you've been a great audience tonight. This has been really, really great. We got up, oh well, applaud yourselves. Yeah, of course, yeah. We got up this morning, looked out the window and said, oh no, this can't keep on going. But it didn't, and here we are. And so we have one more for you here. This takes us back to actually the early 80s, which was a very, very nice period in R&B and soul music, and just had some marvelous things being done. We had Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Kool and the Gang, and everything. And my 1983, my son was 4 years old, and we used to sit in front of the TV and watch the soul videos on BET television, right? Every single night, right, like that. He just loved it, but he developed a particular crush on the Pointer Sisters. You guys remember the Pointer Sisters? Oh yeah, okay, yeah. They were great, and they sang so in tune. So in tune, it was marvelous. So it was great. So they would have hit after hit after hit, right? And if you recall, one of them was simply Jump, right? It's like, when you find the right man, just jump, you know. And that was the idea. And he just thought, so every time they came in, he would scream Jump much louder than the Pointer Sisters, I'll tell you. And that was it. So with that in mind, I wrote a little tune that kind of works the same side of the street as that whole genre of tune. And we call this When in Doubt, Jump. I think we did jump that time. All right. Well, that's the close of our show. Thank you all very much. As I said before, wonderful audience. Every time I glance out, I don't see one pair of eyes like, doing the, wow. That's why we love coming here. Yeah. Some people think that we get disappointed if we can't have a huge audience. No, no, no. Huge audiences very often really aren't that much fun because people, some people had too many drinks with dinner, and it's just that. But you guys are here because you want to hear the music, and that's it. Whoa, that's why we'll be back and back and back and back, right? And which is what will happen. This is kind of our little private tradition. We do the very, very last tandem performance, UW tandem performance. Of each semester. So we'll be back. I've forgotten the date. I don't know, plus minus May 1 or something like that. Oh, and we have Paula to the rescue every time. Every time
So
I falter, here she comes.
I have all the dates. So our first concert in the spring will be March 3rd with the Blue Note Ensemble, and then Jazz Standards Ensemble and the Afro-Cuban Jazz Ensemble on Friday, April the 7th, and then the Jazz Composers Group. Oh, is that you? Oh, yes.
I've heard of them. I have.
That would be Friday, May 5th. So I hope that you will all be able to make those concerts, and we look forward to seeing you. And I want to thank Les for all his fantastic information that he gave us tonight, and the incredible students. Thank you so
Incredible.
much.
Incredible is what you said. Yeah.
So I wish, at Tandem, we all wish you a very happy holiday. We want to thank Audio for the Arts for all they've done, Metronome, which I think is... Microtone, sorry. Anyway, it's been a long night. And thank you all for coming, and thank you for being so supportive of these amazing people.